Okay. Ready, Robert?
Ready. Good morning, everyone. I'm calling this Friday, August the 14th, 2020, regular meeting of the Prescott Preservation Commission. And we'll turn the meeting over to Haley.
Okay. Members present at this meeting are Marianne Settles, James McCarver, Richard Sprain, Michael King, Rob Johnson, Michael Mirko, and Robert Burford, Chair. Staff members present are Kat Moody, Historic Preservation Specialist, Bryn Stotler, Community Development Director, George Worley, Planning Manager, Kaylee Nunez, Recording Secretary, Councilmember Kathy Rusing, and Councilman Phil Good. This is an open public hearing and is being videotaped and tape recorded by the city. The proceedings are being televised by representatives of the public media, local cable and or radio stations, and may also be rebroadcast. The number of board members present is 7. It will require 4 votes for a majority. Please keep your phone or PC microphone on mute unless you're speaking in order to minimize background noise. Please identify yourself each time you speak so that we can record your comments in the minutes and properly count motions and votes. Okay, Robert.
This is Robert Burford, Chair. We will attend to our agenda now with the approval or discussion and approval of the minutes from the June 12th regular meeting. Do I hear from anyone any comments or changes or typos on the last month's minute? Okay, hearing none.
Right. Mr. Chairman, this is Marianne Settles. I move we accept the minutes from that meeting.
Thank you. We have a motion, and do we have a second?
This is Rick Sprain, I'll second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll now take a vote. Marianne Settles,
Yes.
James McCarver,
Yes.
Richard Sprain,
Yes.
Michael Mirko,
Yes.
Mike King,
Yes.
Rob Johnson,
Yes.
Robert Burford.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to our next order of business, which is 249 South Mount Vernon Avenue, a request for multiple items on this site, but the main one being a side porch enclosure and new screened-in patio. With that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Moody.
Okay, let me. Okay, so are you all seeing my screen now?
Yes. Marianne Settles.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you. All right, and we need to have Rob Johnson go ahead and formally recuse himself.
Yeah, thanks, Kat. This is Rob. I'd like to recuse myself from voting on this, please.
Okay, thank you. Noted that Rob Johnson has recused himself from this discussion and voting on this item. This is a property that he owns, and you all are fairly familiar with this because we just a few months back did a review for some changes at this location. They included, the already approved work includes a remodel to this garage, an existing garage remodel, and an addition to the garage, There was some fencing and driveway pavers and a gate here at the driveway as well. And that work is all approved. The plans came in for building permitting review, and there are 2 additional items that Preservation Commission has not reviewed that are on these plans that are in review. And Rob decided he better bring this item back to Preservation Commission for approval of these 2 additional components. So they are there's an existing covered porch here that's a side entry. And so the first component is an enclosure of this covered porch. And then the second component is a screened in covered deck on the rear of the building. So let's take a look at those in a little more detail. Let me see if I can, there we go. So this is the demo plan for this covered porch area. There's removal of an existing walkway and removal of steps in the rear of this covered porch. The porch roof and support posts are being maintained for this. And to take a closer look at the proposed work that's going to be done, there's a new concrete entry pad here and new French door on the front access of the porch and a new French door at the rear of the porch to provide access to the rear portion of the yard. And then these are new double hung windows that are in banks that pretty much fill all the remaining wall space here, with exception of this facet of wall by the existing chimney. And we have a view of this as well. And let me go ahead and, before I move to the elevations, I'll show you the rear screened-in deck component. So this is a new deck on the rear of the building with a new stair that exits to the rear of the property. And this is not visible from the front of the property at all. The enclosure of the side porch would be visible from the street view of the house. And let me rotate this. Just one moment. Grab this page for you. I didn't realize this didn't get rotated. Just one moment here. I don't want you guys to get a crook in your neck. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of an... I just want to rotate the one page, not the whole thing. Well, we'll see if we completely... Oh. Sorry about the delay here. I'd like to get this so you can actually read it. There we go.
There we go.
Sorry about that. So this is the view of the side porch from the south view of the home. And so you can see this is existing, where you can see the side entry into the house. And then this is proposed with the enclosure with those double hung windows. There we go. And now we need to rotate it back for this page. Counters, block lights. Okay. This is the view of the existing east elevation, which is the covered porch that's in place. So this is for looking from the rear towards the street. And then this is the view of the new rear French door with a double hung window. And then this is the view from head on to the house. This is the new French door that would be in the enclosed side porch here. This view also depicts, the rear view depicts the new screened-in front or rear deck that's proposed. And that has a hip-style roof. As indicated earlier, that isn't visible from the street. And I do believe that is the last page for, yep, it's the last page for this item. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you all for questions.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mary Ann. I have a question for Kat. On that very last page that you showed us, it's on the screen right now, that is at the rear of the house, so it's facing an alley?
This view in the middle is the rear of the house. So you can see this is the screened porch in the rear. That's one of the items we're reviewing, is the rear screen deck. And then this shows the rear of the enclosed side porch.
All right. So in reality, this is still facing the alley?
This is viewing things from the alley.
All right. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, Kat, this is Rob. Is it okay for me to comment on that?
Please. Yes, please do.
There is no alley behind that lot. That lot terraces down to the creek. The existing alley comes from Goodwin up only about 4 houses and stops. So they're really, what's behind the house, it's facing the creek as it terraces down, and then the back side of the house is on the next street over. I hope that.
All right, this is Mary Ann again. Thank you for that information.
Rob, can you speak to what you're trying to achieve with these two additions to the work?
Yeah. Thanks, Kat. And first of all, thanks for pulling these up from the city files. I appreciate that. The intent, if you look at the front of the house, it's on Mount Vernon, and the traffic on Mount Vernon, and there's a 3-way stop right there at that in front of the house, actually. And the concept is, when I put the new gates in, I'm going to step the driveway gates back to almost that side porch, so you can park 1 or 2 cars, off of Mount Vernon and not have to park on Mount Vernon, so to speak. And then the intent was to enclose that and make it like a mudroom, so you could pull in the driveway and have an area to go in if it's raining or snowing, and hang your jacket or coat like a mudroom's used for, and then use the side entrance to enter the house.
I'm just pulling up the plan again. So this is Mount Vernon here,
Yeah.
driveway.
So you see the gate. The gate is currently sits out right at the sidewalk, and what I'm going to do is pull that back almost all the way to. There's a diagonal line that says 16.5 feet. That's back a little further. The gate opening is going to be for the drive is going to be set back in the driveway, so you can park 1 or 2 cars in off of Mount Vernon, and then you'd be able to enter that mudroom and go into the side of it.
Okay.
Okay. Kat, this is Marianne again.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, does this finish all the remodel and additions on this piece of property? Are there more
Yes.
coming later?
No, and if I were smart, I would have brought this to you guys the first time, right? Because I knew I was going to do this, and I just didn't. I wasn't ready at the time, I don't think. But no, that's other than landscaping the backyard, that's it. This is the end.
Well, I've passed your house a number of times. You're next to Rodarti's. Can't help but pass it when you make that turn to go to your left. And
Yeah.
it's looking better all the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just got to finish this up, and then life will be good.
Mike Mirko here. I have a question.
Okay, Michael.
The screened-in porch in the back. The panels look massive. They look like they're floor to ceiling, floor to roof. How are they going to be supported? The screen, how's the screen going to be supported back there?
I can answer that. It's the 3 sides of that will be framed in mesh, and it's actually heavy mesh material. It's 2 inch by 2 inch, square, and it's fairly rigid material, and that's going to be framed in around the 3 sides, other than the door that goes out for the stairs to go back down, and that's to minimize, to kind of seal that in for if we have a dog or animals in the house, they can't get off the deck. And I didn't want to window that in. I wanted it to be kind of an open air so you can look out towards the creek and into the backyard.
So it's not a normal screen. It's more of a netting, poultry.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, it's actually made out of steel, steel 2x2, metal, but it's round, round stock, but it's very decorative.
It's not.
I've seen it done on some other things.
It's not for bugs. It's just to keep your dogs in.
Yeah, that's correct. And my concept is to like my current the house we live in at 141. The front porch has retractable up and down shades that you can pull down that are weather resistant. And the plan is to actually hang those on the outside. So if it's raining hard or it snows, it'll keep the weather, out of it. And that's all part of the plan as well.
I got that.
This is Robert Burford. I have just a couple of quick questions. So refresh my memory about the new garage. I recall talking about this in previous discussions, but the new garage does not have access to the rear or a potential lengthening of the non-existent alley. Is that correct? And I'll ask my other question with this. Partly you're in a bit of a handicap because you have to back out onto Mount Vernon, no matter where you park in there or in the garage. So the first question is how do you access the garage? I'm I'm assuming again.
It, yeah,
From-
it's straight down the driveway from Mount Vernon. So you could go into either or garage.
Okay,
And you would have to back out. I'm hoping that when you back out of the one side on the left, you might be able to turn into Ralph's, wall there and actually make a turn out, right? If you're in a small car, but more than likely you're going to have to back out on the Mount Vernon. That's really the only way you could do that, regardless of what kind of a garage system you had on that property.
sure. Thank you. And the only other question is, are we reaching close to the maximum lot coverage with all of this work? I would guess absolutely not. I know that will be reviewed by the city, but do you have a take on that?
Yeah, the lot is 150 foot deep. And so behind the new structures, it terraces down 3 or 4 times to the gate that enters into the creek. So you've got a tremendous amount of space. I think it's over 40 feet off the back of the property line, but it's not buildable. There's no alley back there to, be able to access to build anything from. So it's all got to happen from the front.
Thank you. Yeah, looks like a good project. I'm muting.
Thank you.
Hey, Kat, I have a question. This is Rick Sprain.
Yeah.
It's currently on the National Register. Will any of these additions or changes put that into jeopardy to be taken off, or all this pretty much corresponds with keeping it on?
It does for the most part. Now, you could make an argument that the enclosure of this porch is kind of a gray area because it does alter the way the building looks from the street. Certainly, the rear screened-in deck does not impact the National Register listing. The style of the windows and the doors are all in keeping with this style of architecture, and it would clearly be compatible but differentiated, which are 2 of the guidelines for additions or modifications. So it's compatible in that this type of window and door chosen are compatible with the historic building. It's differentiated because it's going to clearly be of new construction with new materials. It's compatible in that it's got matching siding, so the siding will match what's on the house. So it meets some, the guidelines as far as that's concerned, but it does change the street view of the home. And so if we go back to this and I rotate it a couple of times here, you are impacting to some degree the side, view of the home here. Now that's, this is the primary front door in the front facet of the house. This side porch is not as prominent as the front door. So the answer to your question is there is a bit of a gray area there, and that's part of why we have a commission to review this work.
All right, thank you.
This is Jim McCarver. The roof is matching the roof with the main structure.
Well, this roof is already here. This is already an existing covered porch. On the roof for the rear addition, it looks like it's here a hip style roof, like it's a gable ridge out to a hip return based on the rendering here.
This is Robert Burford again. If we have other comments, go right ahead and make them. Otherwise, I would look for a motion on this.
Well, this is Mike King. I would like to say that the dialogue in the last few minutes has been enlightening and filled out some of the questions I had. Secondly, as I visited this site, I walked around a little bit. I think it's a great, classy and quaint, renovation, and I'm fully supportive of what you're doing.
Thank you, Michael.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is Mary Ann. There is no more discussion. I would like to move to approve those modifications, HP 20-006 for the side porch enclosure and the new screen deck.
Mrs. King, I second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve HB 20-006 249 South Mount Vernon Avenue as presented.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
I will take a vote.
Haley, if you could hold for one moment. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this is Bryn Stotler, Director of Community Development. I just wanted to make sure that we hold anybody on the Zoom call for any public comment.
Let's see.
We will do
Do we
that.
have any public comment? Okay, does seem like we do.
Okay, I will take the vote now. Mary Ann Settles,
Yes.
James McCarver,
Yes.
Richard Sprain,
Yes.
Michael Mirko,
Yes,
Mike King,
Yes,
Robert Burford.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all, and thank you, Bryn, as well, for that important piece to this puzzle we're all playing. Moving to the next agenda item, we are reviewing a request at 126 South Montezuma Street, HP 20-007, and it is a request for signage that has already been placed on an awning on Whiskey Row, Montezuma Street. With that, I'll give this back to Ms. Moody.
Thank you. All right, so we have, this is an after the fact approval. And you may have noticed this awning change if you've been downtown in the last month or so. This awning was previously approved by Preservation Commission when Devil's Pantry went in. And so the awning was existing. It looks like from what I'm seeing here, they went ahead and placed a canvas panel over the old Devil's Pantry signage. And then they placed a new valance with, they removed the Devil's Pantry valance and placed a new valance with text. So as you can see, the business name is Grumpy Sicilian, that's on the angled face. And then the valance signage is their product: beer, burger, salad, pizza, calzone, cannoli is the text there. And so I informed the property owner and the business owner and property owner that we needed to have this item come to Preservation Commission. And so they've filed an application, and we have Charlie Arnold representing this request. And with that, I will turn it over to you all. Charlie, did you have anything else to add?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I do have a question, Mr. Chairman. It's Marion Settle. I have seen the new signage. I have been down to looking at it from these pictures. It sort of looks like a patchwork where his new Grumpy Sicilian goes over the Devil's Pantry and then he added the new front. Could not have that been done in one process with the new signage? I realize he's within compliance and he's met everything, but the sign just looks, I would say this politically correct. The sign just looks like he's trying to save a little bit, use what was up, so he just put this stamp over the Devil's Pantry. Question, is that acceptable?
Well, I think this was probably a cost-saving measure.
And I do too. I agree.
Because then they didn't have to reprint or, purchase a whole new canvas awning. They just were able to cover this, the old sign.
This is Robert Burford. Not to jinx the business there, and I wish it the best of luck, and also in these times. But I think it points to the fact that things are changing. I could see another patch going over this, Ms. Suttles. If this particular named restaurant doesn't has bad luck, but I think the black on the black, give it a few months of our incredible heat wave here, and I think it'll all fade together. I drove by it. I keep thinking that these awnings, signage on the sloping part is not very effective, but it was driving past it once again downtown. All of them seem to work. I mean, you can view them, especially if you're northbound on Montezuma, pretty well. So I would say it will probably heal in fairly well, and it is a new name. But I agree with you, Marianne. It's not the best. They could have done a new awning and different shades or match the one to the north, but that's just my take on it. Thank you. Others can have comments.
This is Rick Sprain. I got a quick one for you. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Robert. I think give it some time, it's probably fade in. Kind of looks a little tacky at the moment, but hopefully it does hang around for a while. I've eaten there a few times and the pizza is actually pretty darn good. So hopefully they hang around. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the sign the way it looks right now, though. That's it.
Thank you.
This is Jim McCarver. I have two questions. One, Kat, are there any restrictions as far as putting signs over signs? And secondly, is that secured down so when we get our winds, it's not going to be blowing all over the place?
Well, we don't have a restriction of placing signs over signs. If we would have seen this item from the beginning, you may have requested that they completely recanvas that angled face. So this is the quandary of seeing something after the fact. It's already in place. And if that canvas panel does start to come up, because of winds, we would require they address the situation at that time. So whenever we have tattered awnings, downtown, then we send the property owner a letter that says, please remedy this situation and you need to do maintenance on your property. In the case with this being signage, the last thing this business owner is going to want is somebody, the old business sign showing up back up. So,
Mike Mirko here. We know how that patch is secured? Is it?
I don't, perhaps Charlie does.
Yep. In talking with the business owner, the awning company used an adhesive, which is a standard practice for putting a covering on an existing awning, such as this.
So it's not sewed down, it's glued down.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Charlie Arnold. If I could for just a moment, just two things I'd like to point out to the commission. Number one, there's numerous awnings on Whiskey Row that have been modified from their original artwork. In two cases, the original logo or name has been painted over in an attempt to best mask the old one. So the Western Heritage Center, they've painted over what was the previous business name, what was Whiskey Row Pub. They painted over that in a close color. The owners and the business owner obviously missed the process of submitting this in advance. But at the time that they did this, the Devil's Pantry, which they had recently acquired, went from being a profitable business and with COVID-19 to losing almost $5,000 a week. They had been planning on rebranding to the Grumpy Sicilian for some period of time. But arguably, if they had not done it at the time that they did, it would be a vacant store space in downtown Prescott right now.
Thank you. I think those are well-placed comments, and I will say again that, this could, looking at it lightly, it could be a trivia game. What is the sign underneath Grumpy Sicilian's new sign? For a little bit of levity there. But again, other comments, and as Bryn suggested on the previous submittal, if we have public comments, I would say this would be the time to ask for those as well. Hearing none, or maybe I could give it a little more time, but do we have enough information now that the commission can make a determination? And if so, a motion would be received.
Mr. Chairman, based on the dialogue, I propose that we approve HP 20-007 as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
It's Rick Sprain. I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion made and seconded to approve HP 20-007 signage at 126 South Montezuma Street. Kaylee.
Okay, we'll take vote. Mary Ann Settles,
Yes.
James McCarver,
Yes.
Richard Sprain,
Yes.
Michael Mirko,
Yes.
Mike King,
Yes.
Rob Johnson,
Yes.
Robert Burford.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Charlie Arnold, I'd just like to thank the commission and staff and Kat for their efforts on this, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you. The best of luck from all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the final item on the agenda has, at the applicant's request, has been removed. So we will not be reviewing the third item, which was going to be this Raskin's Jewelers sign. You may be seeing it at some point in the future, but the applicant has requested that it be removed from the agenda.
Thank you. That leaves the next item of business. Any update of current events or other items that the commissioners or Ms. Moody might want to present?
I have no further items.
Okay. Well, with that, I think we can adjourn this August 13th, August 14th meeting of the Preservation Commission. Adjourn.
Thank you.